We don't always have that direct line of purpose. The longer you've been in the business, the better your relationships with your clients, the more you're able to say, what are we after here? What's the goal here? And even then, lawyers are busy people. They have, some of these case files are this big, I kid you not. Sometimes several books this big. And the amount of evidence and data from medical, so we're another form of data for them in conjunction with medical. In relation to cases where that's the optics from your perspective and lens, I think it's a due diligence process. I think that there's, in the insurance world, let's say that you're the defendant in that case, right? You've got a plaintiff and you've got a defendant. So, as an example, let's say your liability. Now, we've got no fault in BC, but a lot of places don't have no fault anymore. We didn't have no fault for the longest time. So liability is one aspect, but and that sort of is an important aspect as who's kind of paying the bill, if you will, or who's going to be paying, whose policy is going to kick in to cover the damages, the wage loss, the injury, the tort. And so that's what they're looking at. And the only way to know how to adjudicate or mitigate or just handle the legal process of this is to get information. In the absence of it, let's say you're the defendant, and let's say, Pat, you're the policy holder who hit the guy, and you didn't mean to, but you're still liable. You're not a bad guy, it's just bad timing, bad place, wrong time. And all of a sudden, you've got $1 million of coverage on your policy, but the guy's suing you for $3 million. So in the real world, if you lose in court and they get anything more than $1 million, that's $1 out of your pocket. They're going to come after your house, your assets, and legitimately can take anything more than your insurance will cover. So the insurance company may say, yeah, here's $1 million, and if they get another 500,000 to $1 million, that's got to come from somewhere. It's going to come from you as an individual. And so you would want the insurance company, as well as whoever else is representing you, to do everything in their power to mitigate the exposure. Now, mitigate's, not always a nice word, but the reality is you have a plaintiff, you have a defendant, and you have a legal process. And so anywhere through that process, there's an obligation of insurers and a duty of insurers to do their job, to do their due diligence, and think of it that way rather than they're targeting my friend, right? You can get into the nuances of claims, and there's probably fault in some scenarios where maybe it's excessive, and maybe that's specific to the PI, maybe that's specific to the lack of training of the investigator rather than the insurance company who's now expecting them to do things a certain way. So there's a lot of nuances there that don't make the answer as easy as it'd like to be, on why they're doing this. Again, and you don't know what's being said. So there's cases that I've been involved with that I've heard where the claimant can't do anything. He or she can't get up, can't drive, can't do this, and that's just not the case. But there's lots of cases where there's good days and bad days, and people's injuries are fluid and depending on the type of injury. So there's a lot of reason why to continue to do that due diligence and to make sure that they're, as if you were the defendant, Pat, representing your interest, because for every dollar over that million, if they don't do their job to defend you, is out of your pocket, and that's going to hurt a lot more, if it's an individual paying it or whatever. So there's a context to it. There's, in every situation, no matter what aspect of life, business, personal, or otherwise, relationships, there's going to be two sides to every story. There's going to be, and I've just sort of over the years, we work, the work that we do for insurance companies, we do it with integrity, we do it with our skills, and we report the facts as we see them. I'm grateful and thankful that I don't have to sit in judgment of what that means, because that's a harder job sometimes in collecting it. If you do it lawfully, you do it the right way, better minds, the lawyers and the adjudicators and the judges out there will decide what the outcome is, and hopefully that's just, and that's what our legal system is about.